And to trending now. One of the biggest trending stories of last year was about a 16-year-old Nick Sandman, a student who's just had a huge win. I wish it was trending as big as the accusation did last year. Big news organisations in the United States, Britain and Australia rushed back then to damn Sandman as a wicked racist after a fake Twitter account posted a selectively edited video of a confrontation in Washington between this Catholic schoolboy and a Native American activist called Nathan Phillips, who later claimed that the boys there, some of them wearing Donald Trump caps, boo hiss, had surrounded him after their pro-life rally had finished and made him feel threatened. Now, this was enough for America's big media outlets to pile onto these boys enormously, especially Sandman, and so did our own ABC.
Video that's gone viral of the Native Americans surrounded by Catholic teenage high school students from Kentucky.
Some of these teens are wearing the MAGA hats, Make America Great Again, and Nathan Phillips said he felt, he really felt concerned and alarmed there. He continued to go on with his song. He, I should point out, is a veteran. He was a veteran of Vietnam, the Vietnam War.
It's this shot here that bothers me the most, I think, that he's sort of standing in his face, trying to, it would appear that he is trying to intimidate.
Well, respect, and it's pure hate.
But all of this on the backdrop of 2 years since President Trump was inaugurated.
You know where I'd build a wall, Sarah?
Where would you put that wall?
Right around that college. Stopping those kids getting out into the public.
It's pure hate, so the journalists throwing pure hate at this 16-year-old's way. In the US, on Twitter, in the media, on TV, everywhere, the abuse of that 16-year-old was vile.
Blame that kid. What a little smirk face.
Papers like the New York Times and Washington Post called Sandman and the other boys there racist. The journalist of the Vulture website said he wanted them dead. The boys got death threats. The school had to close. But the thing is, almost everything that was said about them and about Phillips, their accuser, was false. For a start, Phillips lied. He isn't a Vietnam veteran. And the full video of their confrontation showed that these boys were innocent. They'd been waiting for their school bus. And then black activists, homophobic ones, abused them, including one of the boys who was black himself.
Damn!
That's right.
Yeah, you's a cracker.
A bunch of babies made out of insects.
When you get old enough, they're gonna steal your organs.
That's part of
Whoa, hey, we love you, bro. Hey, we love you, kid. You give rights.
And then it was Phillips who confronted the boys, not vice versa. Walked up to them, banged his drum right in the face of Sandman, who didn't know what he was supposed to do, so just stood there and smiled. Now, normally the story ends with the Twitter mob and the media just ruining some poor schmuck's life, bugger the facts, except this time a lawyer took on Nick Sandman's case, and he sued left-wing outlets like CNN and the New York Times and the Washington Post, The Guardian, Rolling Stone and more, a real David and Goliath battle. And early this year, CNN reached a confidential settlement, and last weekend, Sandman tweeted, "Today, I turned 18 and the Washington Post settled my lawsuit. I still have more to do." In fact, he's got 6 more cases to get settled. Joining me is Daisy Cousins, YouTube star with her own video channel. Daisy Cousins, how big is this one?
Well, Andrew, as Donald Trump would say, this is huge. This is absolutely huge, and I cannot tell you the immense satisfaction I feel that Nick Sandman has been vindicated in this way. It is just fantastic. He and those boys were brutalized on Twitter and in the media. So just some of the most extraordinary stuff was said about them. And along with what you mentioned before about the death threats, etc., there were high-profile people tweeting that Nick Sandman had a punchable face. For goodness sake, he's a 16-year-old boy. And probably one of the worst ones was the actor Michael Rappaport. He's the star of Atypical, which is a Netflix series. He made a video talking about them, saying just the most unimaginably venomous, abusive, age-inappropriate stuff. Enough to take your breath away, and on it went, this massive power trip of these people with these massive platforms. And of course, Andrew, the reason it was so vicious and so quickly, with no wonder at all about what the context of the situation was totally ideological. It's because they were wearing MAGA hats, and it was because at that point in time, those spoiled little leftist brats in the media and on Twitter were discontent that Trump was still their president. I mean, Joy Behar, who's a host of the show The View, she admitted it. She said when they were speculating about it, the reason it was so vicious was because, to quote her, they hadn't managed to impeach Trump yet. So what a wonderful 18th birthday present for Nick Sandmann, and I hope he is enjoying that Schadenfreude.
Yeah, don't forget to Elizabeth Warren, who was running for president for the Democrats for the nomination. She also piled in and called him a racist. His own bishop disowned him and said, oh, look, we'll look at expelling him, and later apologised, thank goodness. Some of these media companies should have done a lot sooner, but they would have broken their heart to apologise to the guy with the Trump hat on.